Granite is one of the toughest rocks on the planet, rugged and heavy duty, just like the Granite State's Magic Mile, New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's the biggest race of the year for the stars of NASCAR's Whelen Modified Tour, like Justin Bonsignor. Even some of NASCAR's Cup Series stars, such as Ryan Newman, dream of winning the Magic Mile in a modified. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Eastern Propane and Oil 100 for NASCAR's Whelen Modified Tour here in Loudon, New Hampshire. I'm Ralph Shaheen alongside Tommy Baldwin, and Derek Perniciglio will be patrolling the pit area for us here today. Tommy, a nice day to go racing. Temperatures just in the upper 70s.
Absolutely perfect conditions for the NASCAR Modifieds here in New Hampshire. Based about 80 miles from Boston, a lot of New England race fans come to this race. This is, in my opinion, the best show of the weekend.
Well, and a very important one for these drivers. Of course, it's a points race. Bonsignor, the pretty good points lead over Chase Dowling. But it's the impression you can make here that everybody talks about if you're a modified driver.
Yeah, I mean, for years the talent has risen to the top here in the NASCAR Modifieds, and with the Cup cars and the Cup owners being here, sometimes you get a lucky break and get noticed and get to that next level.
Here's a look at those that have won, and so far Bonsignor has dominated the Tour. Well, let's go back to 1998 here at Loudon, and it was an IndyCar. Hey, who's that guy?
Man, he's all cleaned up.
Yeah, carrying that CBS mic flag, covering the Indy cars at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I remember it well.
I was there. That race was awesome. I mean, I was standing off of turn 2, and they going by me. I'm like, those guys haven't even lifted through the corners. Tony Stewart, right? That was Tony Stewart.
That was the Indy Racing League back then, and Tony Stewart taking the checkered flag. And, of course, I had to talk to him in Victory Lane. He looked a little different then, too.
A lot thinner.
Glad you said it. Well, New Hampshire Motor Speedway going to be busy today with more thunder. This time, Derek, from the Modifieds.
Well, Ralph, our Who to Watch driver today will be that number 2 starting on the outside pole. It's Doug Coby. He's a 5-time champion of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. He has 4 wins at this facility. All weekend, he's been seeing the number 2 pop up. Second in practice, second in qualifying. He was second in the All-Star race today, and he hoped that's a good omen to turn it into a number 1 this afternoon.
One thing we're going to take a look at, as we always do, is our race analysis, how many laps and that sort of thing. But one thing that won't show up in an analysis, data-wise, is drafting. But it's so important here.
It is, and you got to, right nowadays, you have to make sure you have the perfect opportunity to pass these cars on the bottom. It's very important for the cars to have a gap that are on the outside in order to make the pass, because if you don't do it correctly, you actually end up losing spots.
It will be a key for drivers like the 44 Bobby Santos. Here's a look at our starting grid for today's race, and it's Ryan Newman on the pole.
Yeah, he's been fast all weekend so far, and they unloaded fast. Obviously, Ryan's won here before and won Bristol here, and with the NASCAR Modified, has a lot of experience in these cars, and he's going to be one to beat for sure today.
And some really big names deep in the field like Woody Pitkat, Timmy Solomito, and even Ryan Preece.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan's been struggling all weekend so far, to be honest with you. And during practice, he said to me earlier that, he hasn't had a very good car, but it made a lot of adjustments, and hopefully he can get to the front.
Scheduled for 100 laps. Here we go. Ryan Newman, Doug Coby, green flag, and we're racing at the Magic Mile.
Very good start for Ryan. 2 cars going to probably do everything he possibly can to try to slide up for second there.
Man, look at Bonsignor on the bottom in the 51, who won the All-Star race here just a day ago.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt him a little bit here. He's going to lose some positions because now the outside is kind of locked up in position.
McKennedy and that red 7NY. He's had a quick car here all weekend.
2 cars slid up in front of him, and you got to do what you have to do there to get that outside groove right now.
Bonsignor still on the bottom. Got a few cars lined up behind him. That'll help him down this straightaway.
It will help a little bit, but again, that outside groove, as you can see, Chase Dowling going for the lead here.
Dowling in that black 15. He's on the bottom of Newman. New leader.
Slide job.
Oh, one car up into the wall already. That's Calvin Carroll.
Yeah, it's a shame. He's had a good showing all year long. He's a good kid. It's a very solid race team, and looks like it just had a little problem pushed off the corner, off of turn 4 actually, and got into the wall.
The power with Prestige 25 comes to a stop. Let's see what happened to him.
Yeah, he just got in the marbles there, and just once that happens, you have nothing to do. You can turn the wheel, slam the brake, get on the gas. It's going to end up in the same spot in the wall, unfortunately.
It's such an unsettling feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously the 51 put him in that position to get to the grip on the outside groove, and 25 ended up in the 3rd groove, and that was the cause of it.
Fortunately, the safer barrier there to take some of that impact away, and he's able to walk away. Short day for Calvin Carroll.
It's a shame because, like I said, they run the tour. They've been at every single race. The kid runs very well with the team that he has, and really nice race cars, and not today.
We'll be back for the green flag from Loudon after this. Pace car pulling off here as we get ready to go back to green and Loudon. Green flag waves and we're underway again.
Simon car getting a really good push by Chase Dowling. As you can see, the 58 split off the 2, which gave the 15 and the 7 the advantage with the draft.
There were a few pit stops while we were away. That's why we had a little bit of a shuffling going on. McKennedy at the front, Dowling on the bottom, back into the lead. Here comes Santos in the 44 on the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, you always see Santos in this race always working that bottom, and I don't know about today though. I mean, it's going to take a little bit for the track to come in down there.
Well, McKennedy starts the entrance to turn 1 on the bottom, then lets it drift up a little bit. Nice run up off the corner. Tries to keep Dowling behind him, but Dowling's got the help of Kobe in that 2.
Yeah, he made a little bit of mistake there, and he went to the bottom and tried to break the draft, and the 15 and the 2, they were hooked up, stayed on the outside, and now they have the track position on the outside. Now you just have a whole line of them.
Goodale in that bright yellow 58. As there's Priest, Ryan Priest creeping into the frame here on the bottom. He's in that 6.
And Ryan's going to do whatever he possibly can to get to the front to put himself in position for later. But again, that bottom groove is going to be tricky here for a little bit.
Putting in another lap, Kobe will lead him this time, the 5-time champion.
Hopefully these guys will settle in a little bit, get these green flags laps, going as much as they possibly can. A lot of these guys, to be honest with you, want green flag laps to get the tire wear to start coming into play, to handle in, so the draft breaks up a little bit. Hopefully we can go a little bit here and start racing against each other.
Kobe ran a different car, though, in the All-Star race, while a lot of the other drivers that we're seeing here ran this exact car in the All-Star race.
Yeah, and about 3 or 4 of them wrecked in yesterday's All-Star race, and they had to put a lot of hours in over the night on Friday night to get into this race. And 44, he actually blew an engine Friday morning practice there, and they had to change it right before the All-Star race, made it back out right before. So they're on the 2nd engine. The 85's on the car that they had to repair overnight with Ronnie Silk. So again, these guys are doing a really good job running up towards the front right now.
Silk in that purple 85. You saw him battling with Bobby Santos in the 44. Kobe in that 2. Do you think it's an advantage for Doug to use a separate car yesterday, or a disadvantage?
I think it just, their mindset going in, they probably knew that they could do whatever they needed to do in yesterday's race. That they probably did lose a little bit of practice time with their primary car, which is the car they have now today, yesterday morning. But you know, obviously you can see that Phil Moran, the crew chief of that car, has a lot of notes for this place, and it's really not affecting him right now.
Well, here's one thing I do know as well. As we take a look at Priest, sitting behind Newman, our current race leader, Kobe, even though he's a 5-time champion, has not won yet this year. I don't know if there's anybody in the field hungrier today for victory than Doug Kobe.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of years they've seemed to really start very, very slow. Last year they kind of did the same thing, got rolling a little bit earlier than this year, obviously, and getting themselves to win the championship last year. But, you know, I tell you, it's a really, really tough team, and if they get on a roll, it's going to be hard to stop them.
What a place to start the momentum, though, right here.
As you can see now, the tire wear is starting to come into play. The draft is starting to break up a little bit. You can start to pass a little bit. The 77 and the 7 are starting to move up closer to the front. These two cars have been stout, the 15 and the 2 all year long, along with the 51 with Justin Bonsignor. They all work together. The setups are very close all year long. They work as a team. They've been hard to beat all year long.
Bonsignor has been so dominant this season in that 51, winning the All-Star race yesterday. Kobe finished second in it.
And you can see he's trying. He's trying to work the bottom. Only because he has room. He had room behind him. He knew the 77 wasn't going to catch up to him in the draft to pass him.
Chase Dowling runs at the front of the field, and this is a huge treat for this young driver. He's currently second in the points. He's a former Rookie of the Year of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, and he's been coming to these races since he was a little kid, sitting in the grandstands watching some of the great modified drivers of the day. For him to be here, he says it's a huge treat. We're on a big stage. We're in front of the Cup guys. There's a lot of people watching, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, he's got those 4 top 5s this year in one poll. Chase Dowling, one of the youngsters so many people are talking about. And this is the kind of driver that can really take advantage of a day like today with all those big NASCAR team owners just sitting on the other side of that pit wall.
Exactly, Ralph. And, you know, he's got a really good race car, like I said earlier, a really good team. You know, Robbie Fuller, the car owner, and he heads up that program. And, you know, obviously those guys know what they're doing with their race cars. You know, you got LFR chassis, you got Troyer chassis, you got Spafco chassis, all in the top 6, 7 here. So all the cars manufactured are pretty even right now.
Just shows how healthy this series is right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably about 6 to 9 guys all year long that has a really, really solid chance of winning, you know, every race on the tour that they've run so far. And it's strong. It's a strong field. You know, when we show up and race against these guys, you gotta have your A game on for sure.
Looks like Newman brought his. He's running 3rd right now in that 77. Caution is out.
Yeah,
this is competition caution.
Yep, we had some during practice and yesterday's All-Star race. We had some right rear blistering on the tires. So this is a competition caution just for everybody to come in, check the tire, and make sure we have no issues.
We'll do the same. Take a quick break and be right back for the green flag. Stay with us. Marking the final pace lap here. The lights are off on the pace car. Joe DeGracia will actually pace the field back to the green here because many of the top stars all pitted.
As you can see, everyone's coming down pit road. Look, the 77 clipped the 2 car. As you can see, he's got right front damage here, so that's going to hurt his day for sure.
Newman just making contact with that right front of Doug Kobe. Boy, tough break.
The front row did not pit for tires, did not pit for anything, so this is going to be kind of an interesting restart.
DeGracia in the 23.
Yeah, and this is his first time in this position all year long here. Well, hopefully he can hold on here, and he lets the leaders, the faster cars, go, which is very smart on his part.
Newman, Dowling, Solomito now in the white and red 16 in Bonsignor. And how about Pennick in the blue 3? Here's DeGracia dropping back now.
Yeah.
Jump the start is the word we're hearing from NASCAR, so they're making him visit pit lane.
As you can see, the 3 cars up to 5th. They worked all night last night after their hard wreck at the end of the All-Star race, running 2nd, going for the lead. And Yeah, he's like I said in yesterday's race. You will always see that 3 car up front towards the end of these races.
Well, the 51 looks solid too, Derek.
Listening to Justin Bonsignor on the radio talking to the crew chief, he said the car is really good right now. The only problem is that he's in a position where there's a huge gap between himself and the leaders in front of him. So what he's trying to do is find the best way to draft up and catch those leaders. He says he's fast. It's just going to be tough to make my way up there.
He needs that pull in the air, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And, you know, if they try the 77 and the 15, if they get side by side one time, it'll get a 51 a good shove, getting draft right up to him. But, you know, again, as these guys run more and more green flag laps, tire wear will come into play, and you'll see the faster guys get to the front. These 3 guys right now, they're going to have an advantage right now because of the clean air that they have and the fresh tires. They're going to get out in a little bit of a lead here if they stay nose to tail.
Well, Justin's reeled him in now.
And I would say the spotters are getting together up top right now and trying to work that out. They're trying to say, hey, look, let's stay together. Let's break away from the pack, and then let's fight it out at the end if it goes green all the way.
They're going to have to make another pit stop, though, right, Tommy?
Not necessarily. If the caution doesn't come out, they probably, if they took fuel in the competition caution, which everybody did, they can make it the whole way. But if a caution does come out, you will see everybody come and pit for tires for sure.
So now Dowling moves to the front. And Bonsignor peaks to the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not sure if that's the right thing to do right there. You know, in my opinion, they probably should stay nose to tail, try to break away the guys, but they know they have really good race cars. They'll be fine.
Priest trying to find his way back to the front in the 6. Here's Newman's turn out front. Could have been just Bonsignor carrying too much speed down into 1 and moving into the bottom help not run into the back of the guy in front of you.
It could have been, but it also could be trying to see how the bottom groove is going to be for later on in the race for the pass for the win. I mean, these guys know that if they do their jobs the rest of the way, they're going to be there for that fight for the win. They're going to try a couple things here to try to make sure what the car is doing, so when they get in that position, they can take advantage of it.
Creeping our way towards the halfway point. Here's Pennick battling with Andy Seiss. Seiss in the 57. And also in that battle is the 7NY of John McKennedy.
It seems like every restart all weekend that 7NY has been stuck on the bottom, and it takes about 10 laps for it to get back to the outside groove so we can start moving to the front. Andy Seiss doing a great job. It's a small team out of North Carolina. They make their way up here and once, twice a year, and sometimes they come to Stafford or Thompson every once in a while. But he's a good little racer. He's run the ARCA races and, you know, Daytona and Talladega, got a lot of experience there. So really good, solid team when they come and race against the Tour.
Boy, Dowling is doing a really tremendous job in that black and orange 15.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of clean passing right now, Ralph. You know, these guys don't want to really block the passing right now to cause damage to the cars. So you'll see them dicing around a little bit, let them go. And, you know, Newman, the 15 is going to let up a little bit. He'll let the 77 come up in his groove there. And, you know, they're just working to see what's going to happen later on in the race.
Dowling in that 1540 connection. Pack number 15.
And you can see Justin in the 51. He's just hanging out, running third, just saving those tires. Possibility that the race going all the way to the end. He wants to save his stuff for the end and take advantage of these 2 guys battling out for the lead.
We knew that Bonsignor was really coming on strong the last couple of years, but this year they're really putting it all together. What do you see as the difference with Justin and that team?
2 big things. They changed the chassis. They went from Spafco to LFR chassis, and they got a really good crew chief right now.
We'll be right back. Welcome back with 47 laps to go here at the Eastern Propane and Oil 100. Justin Bonsignor continues to lead, slipping a little bit, coming off a 2.
Yeah, as you can see, as the laps are counting down here, the 51 who was third a little while ago has obviously saved his tires a little bit. Has gotten to the lead. 15 who was trying to dice and, for the lead back and forth with the 77 probably wore his stuff out a little bit. So 51 capitalizing on right now, and now it's just the 51 and the 77 battling for the lead.
Well, and the one who's really dropped off is Chase Dowling now. All the way back to third, but not really in the scene. Well, here he comes.
Yeah, but he's far enough away right now that the draft, if he doesn't have anybody behind him, it's going to be kind of hard for him to catch back up. As long as the 51 and the 77 stay together, it's going to be kind of hard.
Rowan Pennick in the 3, Andy Seiss in the 57, John McKennedy in the red 7 right behind them. They run 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yeah, the 7 and white Excel Construction Chevrolet with John McKennedy. He has a history of trying to save his tires, so we'll see what happens here.
Looking at a great battle out there right now between the number 3 of Rowan Pennick and the 57 of Andy Seiss. Rowan Pennick driving the old blue machine. He said the car was tight in practice, and they had a lot of work to do last night. They wrecked this car during the All-Star race, and they ended up having to come back into the pit area, rebuild the car overnight, and get it straightened out for today's race. Right behind him is that number 57 machine of Andy Seiss. That's a brand new TA1 Troyer. Actually, really the second race for this car. It was rebuilt after a wreck at Thompson. It's got a new Raymock spec motor in it, and they said that they felt really confident going into today's race. And you have to remember, Andy Seiss finished 6th in this event last year, and he's already up to the 5th spot after starting 18th.
I don't know if Seiss can win this, but he's in a great spot for a good finish.
Yeah, like I said earlier, very solid team, really good race car driver.
So much history to the modifieds, and our Ray Evernham takes a look back at the past of the modified.
The Modified Series, NASCAR's oldest weekly division, dating all the way back to 1949. Starting with the pre-war coupes and sedans, these things are closely related to the bootleg coupes and sedans, with names like Jim Hoffman, Don McTavish, Pete Hamilton, Bobby Allison. They brought us such great drivers. Then moving on to the 70s, the new bodies came about. Gremlins, Pintos, but names like Richie Evans. And in the Vega, leading the Vega charge from Long Island, Charlie Jazombek, the great champion. And on the Pintos, Gil Hearn driving the Black Bandit, famous car. Dutch Hogue, Maynard Troyer, number 6. These things were incredible. Packed stands every night. You want something different? Build yourself a Wild Mustang, one of the neatest looking cars on the racetrack. And as these modifieds evolved into the Tour, the bodies became more standard and a little bit more alike. A lot of safety factors came in, but these are still the most exciting cars on the racetrack, and they carry so much of American history in racing and tradition. Our grassroots started here. These things still pack the stadiums every Saturday night up and down the East Coast. And I'm normally one of the guys in those seats. I love these race cars.
How could you not? Such a fantastic race car, and Tommy, a huge part of your family's history as well.
Yeah, obviously I've been part of this sport since I can probably crawl, I would say. I've been going to the local short tracks at the old famed Islip Speedway and Riverhead Raceway, Freeport Speedway, and all up and down the Northeast. My family took me, and basically that's where I started from with these NASCAR modifieds.
Of course, your dad, one of the legends of this sport, and it's great to see his number, the 7 and Y, in the race here today. Bonsignor leading at the front of the pack in the 51 with pair of 7s. Ryan Newman right behind him.
Yeah, right now it seems like it's a two-car race, but you never know. Caution could come out and could change the whole complexity of this race.
Dowling trying to hang in there in third, but these two look like they're going to try to be the ones to decide it today. Let's learn about Ryan Newman's machine. How's he running, Derek?
Ryan Newman runs in the 2nd place right now, and we're used to seeing him running Kevin Bono Magnon's Dayglow Yellow Menard sponsored race car, but After talking with Gary Putnam, who also works with Bono Mannion with the Modifieds, I asked him, why is it that Ryan is driving Gary's car this weekend? Because that car is usually driven by Gary Putnam on the Modified Tour. Gary Putnam just said with a smile, this car was more together than the other one was.
Sometimes it's that simple. Here comes Ronnie Williams in the 21.
Yeah, these three drivers here, they've been battling on the NASCAR Modified Tour all year long, and the 21's been fast all year. Salamito in the 16, he's been struggling all year, to be honest with you. He just hasn't had the same car he's had in the past, and you know he can get it done, but they're just struggling so far this year.
Certainly thought coming into the year that Timmy would be one of the title contenders this year. Oh, and problems for Ryan Preece. It has just not been a good weekend for him here at Loudon.
No, that Louisiana hot sauce Chevrolet just hasn't been up to par this race so far, and all weekend, by the way. And you know, even in the All-Star race yesterday, he wasn't very good. Looks like he broke something there.
Preece does have 2 wins this year, but not today.
Pretty car, though.
We will be right back for more of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour from Loudon, New Hampshire, right after these words on NBCS. Welcome back to our NBCSN coverage of the NASCAR Whelen Modifieds from Loudon, New Hampshire. Ralph Shaheen, Tommy Baldwin, and Derek Prentisiglio with you as we went green. Problems early on as Calvin Carroll was pushed up into the loose stuff and slammed into the wall. Early fast car, Doug Coby, issues in the pits with Ryan Newman. His day is done. And then suspension problems for Ryan Preece, taking his car out of contention as well.
Everybody pitted for tires here. Got jockeyed up the field. Some guys took 2 tires, some guys took 4 tires, so we'll see how it plays out.
Bonsignor on the outside in the 51, going for the lead.
You're going to see these guys probably try to get as much as they possibly can on this restart because they know they got to get themselves in position. It's not many laps, you know, less than 25 laps left to go here. They got to fight for position. As you can see, the 58 doing what he needed to do to slide up in front of Ryan Newman to get that position so he wouldn't lose on the bottom any more than he was getting ready to.
That's Eric Goodale in that 58. Let's hear the story on Ryan Preece.
Ryan Preece in the number 6, unfortunately out early. Heavy damage to the left front. We were hearing on the radio that you may have had brake problems.
Yeah, we had brake problems, but we had a part failure right there. Our spindle just split in half where the welds are, so a little disappointed in that part right now. Just going to have to go to the next race and rebound from there.
Unfortunately, Ryan Preece's day is done, but he's going to be back later in this afternoon for the NASCAR Xfinity race. Ron
Silk in the 85 picking up a position.
Yeah, and he knew he had a gap there, so he could take that chance of doing a slide job on him. And that's the only way you're going to be able to pass today is to make sure you have a gap. The 44 here, he's going to try, and oh man, he got a really good run there and pass them both. He's going to be pretty strong. If he could do that now, towards the end of the race, he's going to be right there for the finish.
20 to go, and Santos puts himself in the top 5 in the 44.
16 looks very loose right now. He's kind of holding up the outside groove there, but he's going to do everything he possibly can to stay up and where he's running in 7th right now.
That's Timmy Salamito, and that's Derek Toole 16. Pennick slowed the pack up behind him a little bit. Race leaders, Bonsignor and Dowling again.
You know, and these 2 cars, plus the 2 car, unfortunately, who was out of the race, they made a packet before this race. These guys were going to hook up together and try to work together. So, and they're doing the same thing, obviously, minus the 2 car. But right now, it's to their advantage of trying to work together. 7 car trying to gain positions again. But, you know, he went down to the bottom there, and the outside groove caught back up. Now he's going to lose another 3 spots because of it. It's just, if you don't have that gap in front of you, you just cannot get in. And as he pushed the 3 car.
That's tight in there, and there's contact between McKennedy and the 57 of Sice.
Yep, and you saw earlier that Swanson did a really good job of taking that groove away from the 3 car. That's what you have to do. I mean, these are the modifieds, and you got to fight for everything you have. They got Nerf bars, and if you can use the Nerf bar the correct way, you can gain positions.
Back up, here we go, to the 2 leading the field. A good gap between second and third now, too.
Yeah, and this is exactly what these 2 cars want. They want that gap. They want to be able to fight it out again on their own. So, you know, I don't anticipate if the caution. Oh, here we go. Something happened.
There it is.
Yeah.
Sice has a problem in the 57.
Looks like an engine failure there. It's a shame. He was having a good run this race, and his team car has an issue as well.
Yeah, issues with the 97 of Brian Doza, who actually owns Andy Sice's car here. Tough day for Andy. Boy, he was really looking good. And an expensive day for him, I'm guessing.
Yeah, obviously, you know, these engines are at full max RPMs at this facility. Even though with the restrictor plate, we have a lot of issues with oil temperature, and I would guess the oil temperature was really hot there and let the engine explode there.
We'll have the battle to the checkers after this. Modifieds at Loudon, the Eastern Propane and Oil 100. Always a great show, and this is what everybody waits for, the finish. Because you know the drafting's coming into play, strategy, it's going to be a wild one, usually is. The All-Star race was yesterday. How will it play out today? Bonsignor in the 51 on the outside. Dowling on the inside, and we're back to green.
Good start with the 51, but the 77 hooked up with the 15, got on his bumper, and really helped his cause there when the draft. So if this 15, you know, 15 had an opportunity to slide up there, and he chose not to.
10 to go. Here comes Bobby Santos in the 44. Boy, he can be a player here late. Always good at Loudon, especially on the bottom.
And especially at the last 10, 15 laps of the race, you always see that 44 car up front.
And Santos is a guy that will race all kinds of stuff, sprint cars, midgets, and usually on pavement.
Yeah, I call Bobby Santos, unfortunately, a talent that could never get to the big time. He could drive those cup cars. If he got in those cup cars, he'd be just as good as anybody, just really never had the opportunity.
He's doing a pretty good job in the modified today, sitting in fourth with Newman behind him. What will he do?
Well, I think Newman's smart enough to realize right now he needs to push that 44 to the lead group in order to have a chance to win. So if he does that, gets those...
Oh! A little rubbing there with Swans. Oh, 3 cars together here.
Yeah, it looks like there was a little bottleneck going into one, and a couple guys run into each other.
Got the 92 involved in there. That's Anthony Nocella. Then Hagee there in the 18, and Tommy Catalano in the 54.
Yeah, it's a shame. It looks like the Ken Hagee's car, the 18, has a little bit of damage in the right front, so ruined a really good day for him. He's gained a lot of experience here. He doesn't get a chance to race this type of race much, and coming back from the Bull Rings of Riverhead Raceway every Saturday night, so it's a shame to end the day the way he did.
Let's see what happened here. Looks like Nocella first around.
Yeah, again, it's probably a product of somebody trying to go to the bottom and make a pass and getting caught up in the top car and slowing everybody's momentum down, and everybody had to get on the brakes and caused the wreck. So here we go, Ralph. Bunch the field back up, 6 laps to go.
Bonsignor, Dowling, Goodale, Santos, and Newman on the top 5, but with everybody else packed in there, there's a lot of good cars. They get a good jump on the restart.
6 laps might not seem very long, but what these guys got to get ready to do here, it's gonna seem like an eternity.
Well, the chess match just turned to a knife fight.
And I don't think now, if the 51 has a chance to move to the top, I don't think he would not take it. But he didn't get a good start. He had a 44, got a really good draft up on the 51 to push him to get the lead. if the 15 don't dive bomb the 51 now, it's going to be kind of hard to get back up.
Dowling on the bottom. Looking for the drive off the corner. But Bonsignore's going to clear him, and Santos comes with him. He goes to the bottom. New leader here at Loudon. It's Bobby Santos. Great battle, Derek.
Remember, guys, there's less than 10 laps to go in this race, and Bobby Santos has now come up to the front of the field. If you remember in last year's event, he won this race with a last lap pass.
He's got the lead now with just a few laps to go. Dowling back to second. Bonsignore in third. Newman in fourth.
Yeah, and I really think the 15's in the catbird seat right now, but, you know, if he waits to the end.
Oh! Solomito up brushing the wall. We stay green.
15 waits to the end. I think he has a shot, but the cars behind him are going to try to break that up. Obviously, Ryan Newman's trying to do everything he possibly can. He knows he's in fourth. He knows if you don't make any progress right now to get to the last 1 or 2 laps left in the race, he's not going to be able to have a chance to win.
Dowling taking a look inside of Santos. Down into 3. Good speed through the middle of the corner. We got another new leader.
There you go. Now Bobby Santos is the one that's in the catbird seat. But he moved down a little bit low, and you see those guys, they sucked it behind him. The 44 is always so good at the bottom at the end of these races. I don't know what he does, but he always gets to the bottom and makes progress.
He did what Newman could not make happen. Now Bonsignore to second. 3 wide going into 3. Newman trying to make a run on the bottom. Santos gets pushed back to third. Bonsignore knocked up off the groove.
And again, we're at the end of these races, and Ryan Newman's going to do what he needed to do, and got the 51 up into the third groove and got him in the marbles and cost him heavy, you know, a lot of positions right there.
Boy, Santos seems to have something for every attack. He's able to bounce back again, reclaim the lead one more time. Here's Newman making an advance. He'll take over the top spot, coming to the white flag.
This is going to be great. Now Newman with all the experience, Bobby Santos with the experience running with the modified, gets a great push with the 15 car to get the lead. If he didn't get that push with the 15 car, that wouldn't have happened.
Bonsignore's in fourth. It's Santos, Dowling, Newman, Bonsignore, Goodale trying to make a run. Panic is in the mix. Here we go into 3. Santos still out in front. Dowling cuts down to the bottom. He's making a run. Will he get him? At the line, Santos squeezes him down, and Bobby Santos wins at Loudon.
Wow. 44 did a really good job of getting him in front of the 15 and just to stop his momentum off of turn 4 a little bit. 15 did a really good job cutting back down to try to go for the win. Very, very, very close race.
Chase Dowling in that 15 might not have claimed the victory, but he won a lot of admirers here today. Bobby Santos, though, continues to show his mastery of this venue.
Yeah, obviously, the 44 and the 77 earlier, they were fighting for the lead there. They got a lot of respect because they raced against each other in USAC. 15 here does a really good job, really clean. Normally you'd see a lot of banging in the wheels and cars wrecking there, but they respected each other, and Bobby Santos obviously always a clean racer and brought it home in victory lane.
And not by much. Look at this.
Now that's close.
And look at Newman just beating Bonsignore for third. What a race. The Magic Mile lived up to its name once again. We'll be back to hear from the winner right after this. Tremendous racing here today in the Easter Propane and Oil 100. The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour living up to the billing, putting on a tremendous show at Loudon. And Bobby Santos is in victory lane here today and ready to come on out of the car. Here he is, Derek.
Bobby Santos does it again. Last year it was a last lap pass, and this year he's going to bring one of the crew members up on the roof, just like he did last year. It's a huge celebration down here in Victory Lane. They blew the engine up in practice yesterday. They had to put a 1-year-old engine in it, the old engine from last year. And Bobby Santos comes out the victor this afternoon. Let's move in here and talk to him. And he's down here celebrating with Sully Tinio. And let's get in here and talk to Bobby. Bobby, last year you waited till the last lap to get the win. This year, you pulled it off just a few laps before the end. How did you do it?
Wow, what a weekend. I mean, our guys worked our butts off. We changed the motor. Billy the Kid, you know, for the power, obviously. My dad and Danny Gamache, they worked their butts off in this car. I mean, they do such a good job. Sully Tinio, his two boys, Lonnie and Damon. That pit stop, I mean, I was trying to stay calm, but we were a little farther behind than I wanted to be. And the boys gave me an awesome pit stop. My dad and Danny gave me the adjustment I needed, and this is pretty cool. Got to thank LFR Chassis. I mean, everyone that helps us do this. All these guys right here work really hard.
It's a happy driver and crew down here in Victory Lane. That's why they call it the Magic Mile here at New Hampshire.
And to do it with a one-year-old engine, too.
Bobby Santos obviously has a lot of experience being in this position. Knew exactly what to do it on the last lap off turns 3 and 4 there. Great finish.
And one of the closest in history here at Loudon. There's a look at the results. Bonsignor credited with 4th. Penick, I mean, tip of the hat to that crew. That car got destroyed in the All-Star race. They come back with a nice 6th-place run today.
Yeah, worked all night. Those guys, obviously, they're one of the best in the business with the modifieds, and gave them a good car.
And how about Doug Kobe, 26? The frustrations continue for him in 2018. Let's hear from the man who finished in 2nd.
Well, Chase Dowling in the number 15 comes home in the runner-up spot today. He was fast all day long, and in one of those situations, it's do or die on the last lap, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fun racing at Loudon, New Hampshire, or Speedway that they put on for us for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. But the rest of Bobby Santos, they ran a great race, and obviously had a really good car. Just came up a little short there at the finish line, but can't do it out 1540 connection, SNS asphalt pavement, LFR, Rob Fuller, this whole crew. We just bring this car out after this winter and showed a lot of speed, so can't think of everyone else that brings me here.
Looking back to those last couple of laps, is there anything that you would wish you did differently?
I mean, it's just so hard. We had 4 cars there at the front going for the lead. I think we were 3 wide going on the backstretch at one point, and you just gotta try to stay to the top to have the outside with the drafts going, and the bottom you might not have the draft. So it's kind of a role to play. And Justin, we came off at 4 there. 3 wide one time too, so it's kind of chaotic. Just got to be in the right lane.
It's a good points day for the number 15 of Chase Dowling. He comes home in 2nd, and he still sits 2nd in points.
Yeah, let's take a look at the standings. He gained a couple on Bonsignor and finished behind him here today. And it's a long season. We're just at the halfway point.
Yeah, I mean, the 51 and the 15 have really been the 2 strongest cars all year, and that's why they're obviously 1st and 2nd. It looks like it's a 2-horse race here going to the end here. I know it's only halfway through, but those guys are tough.
All right, Derek.
Well, Ryan Newman, Chase Dowling, and Bobby Santos put on quite a show in those last couple of laps. And did you think that it was going to go one way or the other? Because here at the Magic Mile, anything can happen.
Yeah, it was a great race. I mean, it was fun to be a part of it. Obviously not happy to come out on the 3rd place end of it, but Bobby did a good job. He usually comes to the front here at the end of these races, and he did. But we just, we're kind of in a wrong place, wrong time. Got up front with coming to the white. I had no radio communication in the last 25 laps, so I was kind of spotting for myself, driving for myself, and trying to keep it out of the fence. So proud of everybody with Gary Putnam, Bono, all the guys that come up here for the fun of it, and we had fun today.
When you lose your radio communication like that, how much are you driving with the mirrors?
That's all I had was the mirrors. I was trying to keep an eye on who was behind me, and then obviously look up the front too to figure out my runs. And it was a great race, no doubt. I'm glad we finally got sorted out and was able to go green there for a while. But it was a lot of fun to just race up there with those guys. Hard racing, man, and guys using their Nerf bars and stuff, and rightfully so. So we'll try again sometime.
Oh, it was fun to watch these guys race this afternoon. Ryan Newman put on a show.
Well, we told you about the NASCAR Whelen Modified All-Star race from here. You'll get to see that next Friday, July 27th, 6 p.m. Eastern, here on NBCSN. All in all, a tremendous weekend for the modifieds here at Loudon, Tommy.
Yeah, once again, the modifieds did not disappoint here in New Hampshire. And like I said earlier, the best race of the weekend for sure. And these guys have been putting on shows all year long, wherever they've been going, packing the grandstands, short track style. NASCAR modifieds, it's the way it is.
For Derek Perniciglio and Tommy Baldwin, I'm Ralph Shaheen. It was another great one here at the Magic Mile. Congratulations to Bobby Santos on the big win.